Welcome to the first weekly reading vlog. I also realized that you know how we have the theory, what's that? Entropy, like everything will descend into chaos eventually. That's me, but with the amount of books that I read concurrently. So I swear I was at like 2 or 3 or like 4 maybe a couple of weeks ago, but now we have descended into I think maybe 6. Uh, Perpetually, we will always have like 2 that I'm always going to be reading because I have the year-long read of Les Mis and WAP, War and Peace, so that will always be there. But yeah, I also just keep adding books on top. But while we're on the topic of the year-long reads, I do want to do some updates on War and Peace and Les Mis. We'll start with War and Peace first. My copy, the bottom is like, it's peeling off. I'm honestly quite afraid that it will just fall apart eventually. That is about how much that we are through currently. Also a tip, if you're reading a giant book with like a bunch of notes at the back, I suggest putting like a tab at the top, and you can use it as a lever, I don't know if that's the right phrase, to kind of pull the page that you want open for your notes. Absolutely ingenious in my opinion. I'm currently up to page 826, volume 3, part 3, scene, act 3? No, I don't know how they do it. Chapter 3, here we go. That is this much. And it's been really, really emotional. I think a lot of this book I've kind of felt really ambivalent about because I felt like I didn't really have a deep connection with a lot of the characters. A lot of their beliefs I didn't really resonate with. I understand where they came from, but oftentimes I wouldn't agree with their decisions or be able to empathize, I suppose. But now that we're kind of like back in the war section, especially in terms of Andre, I have just felt so much emotion and compassion towards him. There have been some beautiful, beautiful lines. One of my favorites, it's when he feels like he's about to die, but then he gets taken to like the medic center, and it says here on page 814, Prince Andre remembered everything, and a rapturous pity and love for this man filled his happy heart. Prince Andre could no longer restrain himself, and he wept tender, loving tears over people, over himself, and over their and his own errors. Compassion, love for our brothers, for those who love us, love for those who hate us, love for our enemies. Yes, that love which God preached on earth, which Princess Maria taught me, and which I didn't understand. That's why I was sorry about life. That's what was still left for me, if I was to live. But now it's too late. I know it. There's something about near-death experiences and how they fundamentally change you that really just hits home, because I guess we're all kind of denying the undeniable fact that we will all die eventually. I'm actually really intrigued as to where the rest of the story will go. I'm not quite sure where Pierre is at the moment. I think the last time we saw him, he was in the war grounds. The way that Tolstoy writes, it can be like so jarring sometimes. Pierre's like in the war zone and there's just like cannons flying over him, but the way that like the soldiers are acting, it's like the more death that surrounds them, the more jubilant they get, the more happy, the more animated, and it really is quite startling to see such, I suppose, positive emotions in such a negative environment. Unfortunately, I now have the desire to annotate this book, but I got a bunch of tabs, sticky tabs, in these lovely kind of like neutral colors. Isn't that so pretty? They kind of remind me of Among Us. And this one's like hella off center, but that's alright, I suppose. And then also some more brighter ones, which are like more typical of the ones that you usually get. I'm currently going through these ones, which are ingeniously manufactured, because what happens is you have both sides have this plastic covering, but they've alternated the sticky side to non-sticky side, so that when you pull one out, I'll do it now, it lifts the one under it and puts it above. So this is the sticky side, but then this becomes the sticky side now when it was originally placed like this. So it's just like so easy to like grab it and like stick it onto things. But yeah, I don't know if it's kind of too late annotating War and Peace when I'm like this much of the way through. So that's not that. I'm actually I was really far behind because uni started, and I only caught up a couple of days ago, but then I haven't been able to read it since, so now I feel like I'm behind again, but that's alright. Moving on to Les Mis, I am that much of the way. Oh, okay, there's two marks, because what I've done is I went onto the Excel spreadsheet that infamous soap, I think his name's James, made for us to see where we should read up to every day, and I should be up to here. And this is actually the cutest thing ever. I was gifted this by Kevin. It's a magnetic bookmark, and it has phases. I have like I have 3 more, and he has 1. So I'm gonna give it to my friends because in our server our names are all after phases of the moon, so we're gonna get matching ones. And they're so cute, and they have magnets, and they're actually pretty strong. So when you like clamp it onto your book, it is very, very sturdy. So I'm just like putting this as a place marker. I think that's right. Of where I want to get up to. And Les Miserables. Okay, my biggest complaint about this book is that I feel like we go on giant tangents and then they never lead anywhere. Like they just don't feel like there is any point or meaning or purpose to them. But as I suppose is the case with a 1,000-page book, they do end up showing up later eventually. So we're at a very critical point right now where a lot of the main characters that we've met previously are coming together. Thénardier, who took Cosette, the little girl that's on the cover here, kind of abusively. They like basically made her slave. They met Monsieur Myriel. I don't think it was Myriel. I forgot his name. The main older guy who like took her back and is now like basically her grandfather, her guardian. They met up again after he left their cottage after he took her away. But they got like really mad because like apparently she was worth a lot. She would have like made him a lot of money, blah 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 blah. This other dude, oh my god, what's his name? I am so bad with names. Marius? No. It is. Marius, he was kind of indebted to Thénardier, but he did not know, like, he spent his last 4 years looking for this dude, and because his father was saved by Thénardier, and so his father, upon his dying wish, asked his son, Marius, to repay back the debt that he owes Thénardier, and he's been looking for him all this time, but once he finds him, he's going to, like, basically kill Myriel. I'm pretty sure his name is not Myriel. Right now, he's under the name Monsieur Leblanc, because he's actually a criminal who's trying to run away from the law. It's a little convoluted. Not convoluted, it's just, I mean, you're missing like this much of content, and I've only started explaining it halfway through. But yeah, very intense right now. I'm a little upset that it took us this long for like to kind of see where everything came together. But I think I'm just gonna accept that this is gonna be a really long ride. Okay, it's been a couple of days since I filmed the last clip, and I also look significantly less good because I just woke up. Anyways, I want to do some updates on a couple of the other books that I'm going through. So another text that I'm going through because one of my students is doing it at school right now is Lenny's Book of Everything. Karen someone. I'm reading it on as an ebook right now because I couldn't exceed borrowing it from the library, and I couldn't find an audiobook. I also wanted to annotate it, so I think it's super easy because on, I don't know what it's like on like any Apple devices, but if you have your book on Google Play Books, you can like sync your quotes to a Google Doc. So let's say like I really like this one, and then I say, okay, I want to make it blue. No, I don't. And I want to make it blue. There is a matching Google Docs that it makes for you, color coded in the highlights that you've done from the book, which is super awesome. Lenny's Book of Everything by Karen Foxley. It's like older children's literature or like really young adult fiction, but it's basically about Lenny, Lenore, and her brother Davy. And Davy is he hasn't yet been diagnosed with it, but he has gigantism. So ever since he was little, he was just abnormally large and has been growing rapidly ever since. Their family, their father is kind of absent. Not kind of, he's like absent. Like he's just like not there. So their mom has been raising them on her own, except she takes her to like this neighbor's house, Mrs. Gaspard, I think her name's Mrs. Gaspard, and they also applied for like this subscription to an encyclopedia that comes to their house I'm not sure, every week or every month. But it's just so, from the get-go, it's just been so captivating. It feels so magical. Just the way the kids describe like the world around them. I know it's like an adult writing it, but there's also been really funny parts of my favorite. There's this as they're going like grocery shopping, they pass Mr. King's King of the Fruit store. That just got me. I do love a good pun. And I really love some of the metaphors, figurative language used. So far, my favorite quote has been, "Our witness and the rain falling past his window in a curtain and the day grown dark had caused the sadness flower to open in my chest." What? That is so, I won't say sweet, but like just very emotional. I think we tend to sort of misrepresent children as being emotionally or like socially inept, when I feel like they're one of the most sympathetic and emotionally nuanced and sensitive people that we have. I am about a quarter of the way through, really enjoying it. I kind of know what happens at the end because you can kind of guess with stories like this, and also my student told me because we're studying it, so it's not like I can prevent her from telling me what's happening in the book. Something else I wanted to update on was I finished Cards on the Table by Hercule Poirot earlier this month. I actually enjoyed that a lot more than I thought I would, especially because I know it's really silly for me to read Agatha Christie when I know I'm not that much of a fan of mystery, but for some reason the mystery really gripped me in that one. I thought it was done really well, kept me at the edge of my seat, and I was entertained throughout. And then to continue on, I did read The Body, A Guide for Occupants by Bill Bryson before this, but since I finished it, I'll just like talk about it in the wrap up. But now I'm on to 3-Act Tragedy by Agatha Christie. I'm currently playing it on Spotify right now because I have it downloaded just on my phone as an audio file, but I can't play it anywhere else for some reason. But it's actually kind of cool because if you link your Spotify to your Discord, it shows people how far you are the audiobook. I'm currently an hour and 40 through this almost 6-hour production, so almost a third. And I'm actually really liking it so far. The only thing is with Spotify, you can't change the speed that they're narrating. And usually I listen to things on like at least 1.25 to 2 times speed. But this, I have to like, I'm like forced to read it on like normal speed. And usually that is kind of a signal for me to like turn off my brain, because if something is too slow, I just get distracted in between the gaps of the words. But frankly, I've actually been paying attention really closely since the beginning, and a lot of the time I've been listening to it over long periods as well, so it's been something that I could engage with over an extended period of time. It's about a host of people. At the first part of the book, right in the opening scenes, we have a dinner party hosted by not Charles. It might have been Charles. Charles is a now retired play actor in a play theater actor, and he hosts a dinner party with some affluent people, some lords and ladies, some dukes and there were no dukes, lords and ladies, blah blah blah. And a dude just like carts it at his party, and he's like, oh my god, what the hell was that about? Except that no one really knew him, so they were like that sad about it. And they're like, yeah, whatever, that was sad, but like I'm gonna move on with my life. And then there was another party at another dude's house that almost all the people that went to the first dude's house went to as well, and another dude died there. So now everyone's like, hold on, that's a little too coincidental for comfort. There must be something going on here. So they're kind of trying to figure things out. Because Agatha Christie didn't publish the Poirot books in chronological order, in this one, Poirot is actually retired from being a private investigator, and the main characters, Charles, and I forgot the other dude's name, kind of just stumble. Mr. Setterwaite, something like that, kind of stumble upon Poirot and just kind of casually invite him to join the investigation. There's also another reason why I like it. It's because it's a girl and she's just called Egg, and it really just makes me laugh every time, because we're just like, everyone just takes it fucking seriously. I'm like, girl, I would not be able to hold a conversation with you if, or anyone who knew you, if they just referred to you as Egg. Although I am friends with a lot of people who call each other by their Discord names, which aren't much better than egg, so that might be a little bit of a double standard. Anyways, I'm really liking it so far. I think I've been kind of skipping out on like going to my classes at university, but now that I'm like actually making an effort to go in person, public transport is such a great way to just like power through an audiobook. Like I wish I could read on public transport sometimes. I do have a couple like physical books that I'm going through as well that I am not making as much progress as I would like, but yeah, it just makes me too nauseous. So yeah, gotta have an audiobook always on hand for that. And yeah, I'm really enjoying this one so far. This one I want to update, if I haven't already, is The Name of the Rose by Umberto Eco. That's my copy. I love the vintage classics editions. I think that is so striking with the red spine. And then also I have a Copenhagen bookmark with a little tassel that I got from QBD. I am really enjoying this so far. I think they've made such a older, like this is set in like the year is 1327. Brother William of Baskerville arrives at a wealthy Italian abbey on theological business. Like this is set almost an entire millennium ago, and I feel like the world is still so vivid. Like it's so brightly depicted, and I can really easily see all the different characters and their environment and how they're all connected. I annotated this one. As you can see, there's a lot of thoughts so far. So I've tagged blue as science/progress, pink as humor, yellow as morality/immorality, and green as just general prose that I enjoyed. Dude, I didn't know how funny this book was. I want to say unintentionally, but I'm pretty sure like the author had, some thought in it. It gives me so much like Hercule Poirot and Hastings vibes, because it's narrated by Adso, which actually isn't William, the main character, the main like detective guy. Just like how in Poirot, a lot of his books aren't like, I don't think I've read any that are narrated by Poirot himself, but I have read a couple that have been narrated by Hastings, which is his like, detective buddy. So Adso and Adso and William come to the abbey because one of the brothers of the abbey had seemingly thrown himself out of the library window and like died. So they're kind of sussing around as to what's going on here. There have been some really spicy things that I obviously don't want to spoil, but yeah, it seems like under the guise of confessional, is that what it's called? Pardon me if I'm messing it up. But yeah, because of like confessionals and the obligation of the brother that you're confessing to not repeat your words to someone else, it seems like there's a lot to uncover that isn't, readily available to William and Adso, and they have to kind of go the roundabout ways to get the information they require. And there have been a lot of really interesting discussions as well on theology and what is moral, especially in terms of like art and literature and paintings especially. I think it's beautifully written as well. This was, I think, it was written in Italian first and then translated to English. One of the best translations I've read so far. I can barely tell that it's been translated. Or actually, I can't tell that it's been translated. And for the subject matter, it is surprisingly easy to consume. Like, I don't think it's too much difficulty in actually understanding what's going on, like from page to page. So yeah, really enjoying this one so far as well. There's a plane. Empathize with. Oh my god, I took out the bookmark. I didn't remember where I put. I think it was chapter 3. I think it was volume 3, part 3, chapter 3. No, part 3, chapter 4. I'm gonna have to go back and rewind to see what I said. I'm gonna just put it here for now. I lost my bookmark. Oh my god, this is a mess.